Hello and welcome to the Bel-E and Scratch podcast. I am your host, Bel-E.
And I am your co-host, Scratch.
And today, I ain't got nothing.
You ain't got nothing?
Well, to be fair, I just came home and I am stuffed.
Well, good.
I try not to get too crazy with, excuse me. I try not to get too crazy with overeating, but sometimes it catches up with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was one of those days. Although, to be fair, I don't feel bad about...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You've dieted and your stomach is smaller.
Yeah, and I'm just like...
Then you go eat a big burger and a basket of fries.
And a milkshake.
And a milkshake.
Yes. Because I already knew I fucked up. Once I got inside the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. So, what difference does it make?
And what difference does it make? Just like the Smiths. I love that song.
It's like ordering 4 Big Macs with cheese and getting a Diet Coke.
Yeah, that's a nah. Don't be a punk. That's a punk move right there.
You try to cut corners where you can, but
Blah.
Blah.
Go big or go home. Fuck it. Why not? Oh, good lord. I'm just trying not to fall asleep over here, basically.
And you're in carb overload.
And I'm in carb overload. Although, to be fair, lately I have been kind of breaking from the diet. Not because I'm sick of the diet.
Yeah.
Far from it. It's, you probably understand this better than me. This whole thing of, me transitioning from this job to another job.
Mm-hmm.
My current job, I basically just become a workhorse, and they're not replacing who they should have been replacing.
Right.
So now I just have this feeling of, I don't want to die, but I don't want to be here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now it's just this thing of, existence.
Yeah, there's like this existential dread and everything.
Yeah.
I obviously, I think it has something to do with the beer flu.
Oh, I knew that, but still.
And yeah, we've come out on the other side of it, and yes, we're still alive.
But.
But, that can only be, for the majority of people, that can only cover you for so long.
Indeed.
It's kind of like, woo, Christmas morning. And you wish you could have that Christmas morning feeling every morning.
Oh, yeah, but you can't.
Well, I guess it's possible.
I guess part of it is because of the beer flu, everyone kind of went into survival mode.
Yeah.
And now we're sort of kind of entering back
and
out.
We were all like everybody's pal. We are the world.
Ugh.
We are the children. Let's all stand around and hold hands if you're willing,
Kumbaya and all that dumb shit.
Well, I mean, that only carries, and that's...
That can only carry you so far, that toxic positivity.
Well...
Not only that, but we're kind of emerging from this period of survival back into trying to get into some routine of normalcy.
Well, the problem is nothing is the way it was.
True.
So there is a new dynamic of normalcy.
Yes.
So something that if you come from a particular demographic, you would look at in a negative way.
Yeah. Others in a positive way.
And then find yourself in the middle of it. I can remember...
It's just ridiculous.
From my generation, when I got laid off from my first real job back in 1991.
Yeah.
To go on unemployment was a failure.
Yeah.
A failure to, whatever.
A failure to be a functioning member of society.
Right, exactly. And so far as my, ancestry, to be on any kind of government subsidy.
Oh, yeah.
Not retirement or Social Security.
Just a welfare?
Just being in a welfare kind of state. was a negative thing. Although when I was a kid, we were always at or below the poverty line.
So it didn't really matter.
Well, I think the important part was to keep fighting.
Sure.
Not to accept it just because it's available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not the same. That's not the way it is today. Today, everybody's trying to get on that gravy train.
No, I remember. But when I was in my 20s and 30s and meeting. I remember two young gentlemen I met when I was working in Oakland in the mid to late 2000s. Two volunteers. They obviously were. I would assume based on that they were based on my interaction with them, they were of Chinese descent. Although they were born in this country.
Yeah.
And both of them were just killing it in school. I mean, one of them was actually seriously talking about, and neither one of them had the intellectual dishonesty to be a bullshitter.
Uh-huh.
So they were pretty straight guys, if only for they lacked experience to lie. But they both were just killing it in school, and one of them was legitimately talking about going to MIT. He actually had a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, he was actually being considered.
What was the problem?
And I remember interacting with these two young fellows, they looked up. That was the person for that ER in that particular hospital.
Yeah.
So they kind of looked up to me, and asked me questions about life and things like that. And I remember, I don't know exactly how I got on this, but I asked each of them, what if everything fell into place, how would you want your life to unfold? How would you want to achieve success? How would you want to achieve status? And like I said, I mean, this was almost 20 years ago. This was 15 to 20 years ago. Both of them said in a manner of description that they basically wanted to be involved in a traffic accident where it was somebody else's fault. And the other person at fault would be wealthy.
Yeah. So
they could sue them. And receive a check, and then just that would be the end of their climb to status. And it just blew me away, because here were these two young gentlemen.
Yeah.
Both of them very affable. Fun. One in particular, very funny guy, very clever.
But they wanted to get hit by a car.
They wanted to succeed in life. They wanted to get. I mean, and from my perspective, I'm like, the funny one, the guy, he actually had paperwork filed at MIT.
Yeah.
I mean, his kid was like, he was like in 10th, 11th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was actually being considered to attend the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT.
Yeah.
And it just blew me away that both of them. And the other fella, his grades were good enough to get him into any college in the country, basically.
Of course.
And
they were both just like...
They were like,
getting hit by a car.
Oh, by getting a car accident and hit with somebody with some money, and then I could sue them, and then...
That'd be it.
And then I could retire.
Oh, that's...
I just thought, that just blew me away. I was just like,
I think part of it is that path of least resistance, because that's way more common in my generation, it seems. The reason I say that is because when I was going to college, I heard that all the time.
Well,
I mean, that's part of the reason why I saw a lot of my fellow students, they gave zero ucks about the traffic. They would just walk right out into traffic.
I mean, and that's a tremendous point you make about the path of least resistance, and I think ultimately that is the default to us all.
Oh, I believe it.
Because when we're not being productive,
Mm-hmm.
when we are not living in a way that are embracing life in a way that makes us happy and fulfills us, I believe we can drop into a level of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And that level of depression, I believe, is fueled by that path of least resistance. I'm not really doing a lot right now. I should be doing more. You know, that kind of thing. There's also that contrast of, you know, some things just operate in a matter of time, timing, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Plus, you know, this also does explain why there's still this focus on, oh, go out and do great things. Well, how, what, when, where, how, why?
Well, those sorts
who?
Those sorts of things used to be more easily defined.
Yes.
Say, my generation, it was quite apparent to me in middle school, based on what was going on around me at the time, that someone who played a guitar really well would be
they'd be famous.
They would be famous.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 70s, you know, this basically what happened in the 1970s, and this is the short, dirty version. The technology of the radio station just jumped. Just like we have what's going on today. Everything being like influencer.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Get on Instagram, get on Facebook, make these videos, do a podcast.
Yes.
You know, hey, point at this guy right here.
Oh, yeah.
But back then it was so that's the proliferation of the internet technology. So back during the 1970s, it was more along the lines of the technology for radio.
Yeah.
Began to take off. So it's kind of like what's happening to the streaming services today, because there's this big jump in embracing the new business model, the new entertainment business model of streaming services. These streaming services are jumping up and working to create an environment of creating more content.
Yes.
So basically what happened in the 1970s, because there was this proliferation of radio technology, that's where all this music came from.
That's where all that really crazy ass stuff kept
That's where all the
up.
side stuff is definitely
because they were just trying to find what could stick and throw it against the wall.
And what would stick and throw it against the wall. And a lot of people don't understand that.
This does explain a lot, especially today with streaming services, because you have a lot of experimental and downright somewhat taboo stuff.
You remember how Adult Swim was about 15 years ago?
Oh.
Where you would watch something and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Now it's everywhere. Yeah, now it's everywhere.
Now it's everywhere. So, you know, that's what they're trying to, and everybody's just looking for that. Hey, you know what? I didn't make the world the way it is.
I know.
It'd be nice to seek art for art's sake.
Sure. But you got to make money at the same time.
But you got to make money at the same time.
Which is kind of important.
Well, you know, you got two choices. Okay, here's the thing about it is, if you're an artiste.
Yes.
Okay, if you're a true artiste.
Yes.
Okay, if it takes your death to make your work famous.
Guess what?
Guess what? There you go.
Yes.
Okay, but if you're like, man, I really want to be famous and have some money before I die.
Uh-huh.
There is that artiste in there, because there's an element to you that causes you to create this type of element, this painting, this video, this monologue, this joke, whatever. And obviously you want to pay your bills with it. Clearly. But I mean, who's going to stand in a crowd? Who's going to stand up, raise their hand, and say, "I only want to be remembered after I die"? You know what I'm saying?
Not a lot of people.
Not a lot of people.
Not anyone I know personally.
No, and me either.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
I think people that are invoking, you know, that we read about in the history books. Everybody talks about how much of an honorable person, or an honest person, or a strong person, or a great person, or whatever. You know, I don't think the true ones, I don't think they realize how their memory was going to be canonized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. You know, you don't know how the anvils of history can twist the perception of what you actually were versus how you're perceived.
Right.
This is why I ran into this so much in college. This is why you don't look at the past with the hindsight of today.
I don't recommend it.
No, trust me, here's the thing. I on the one hand, what I mean by, in my opinion, an acceptable way of looking at the past with the hindsight of today is, say, like cold case files stuff.
Yeah.
Where because of the advancing forensics technology, you can now go back to old murder cases from like God knows when they didn't have forensic science and go, oh, it was old man Jenkins all along.
I would have gotten away with it too. It wasn't for you meddling kids.
And your dumb dog. Yeah, now on that perspective, I can understand.
Sure.
But the most negative thing, first and foremost, the most negative perception I always caught about that was basically, the best example I can think of off the top of my head, put that down, is I was... Shut up. The best way okay, there's two examples. One I remember less of versus the other.
Right.
The one I can remember most prominently is, it was like, it was a psychology class. It was like human growth and development or something like that. Basically the psychology of the human as they go from conception to death.
Cradle to the grave.
Cradle to the grave, essentially.
Oh, excuse me. Conception?
Conception. Conception to grave. Except no fun stuff, so whatever. However you define it. But basically, that stuff. And in the class, it was, I think the section about, like, babies or toddlers, where the teacher showed us an old, black and white old. I can't remember the psychologist that did it, but basically he rounded up these monkeys and, like, separated them from their mom. And they had two mother dummies. One of them had milk, but their whole body was a wire mesh, like a chicken wire type thing.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
And the other mother dummy was, like, made of cotton or wool.
There was this tactile.
Yeah, there was a tactile. It was a comforting tactile, but it didn't have milk.
Didn't have milk.
So he was trying to determine, like, do humans, because this was back when, the theory of evolution was about 5 times stronger and actually being researched and wasn't being put forth as a front or whatever.
These kids today don't believe in anything. They don't believe in creationism or evolutionism. Yeah, I said it. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, anyway. Maybe. So this was back when evolution was being taken in my opinion, about 5 times more seriously than it is today. At least being considered.
Sure.
Which I respect.
Why not?
I believe in the part where it says the survival of the fittest, because that makes the most amount of sense. Because dead things don't breed. Does that make sense?
It does.
Now, whether or not we came from amoebas, that's still up for debate. Because you can't prove that. Because you need millions of years to define that, That's why it's still a theory. But basically, you had these two mother dummies for this baby monkey, and then the scientist group would, like, push a scary animatronic or a face into the cage to see what the baby monkey would do. And more often than not, even though the mother with the wire mesh body had milk, the baby would always go to the mother dummy that had, the soft textured body.
The fur,
the comfort.
The comfort, yeah.
They valued comfort over food.
Over food.
Food. You need that to live.
Right.
So that's what I got out of it. Now, yes, there are obviously some scientific errors. This is a study made approximately 60 to 70 years ago. I get it. But still, it's not
complex.
It's not complex.
No, it isn't.
It basically what it was trying to prove is we Because, humans and monkeys are very similar, yada, yada, yada. Basically, what the experiment was trying to prove was we would value the comfort of, family
Right.
over, say, food. Now, obviously, there's more to it than that, but it's been a couple years.
Well, what you have to understand mainly about primate studies,
Yes.
and this goes out to anybody that's listening, is that guess what? They consider the human being a primate.
Yes.
These studies have already been done
Yes.
in human trials,
We just don't talk about it.
but they don't talk about it because you can't present it to the scientific community at large.
No, because there's
Saying
rules.
that, we settled on this hospital. It's easier, we settled on this hospital in Missouri. It's easier to say we were in this zoo
Yes.
in Orlando.
Yes. And we did these trials.
And then we did these trials with these chimpanzees.
Yes.
Okay.
When in reality,
the very idea of it,
it came from a human study.
came from a human study.
That
Absolutely.
we're never going to see the light of day
No,
of. Because there
you're
are
not.
rules in the scientific community
That's
where
correct.
you can't do that yet. You know?
I mean, they do it,
Oh, they do.
but
Somewhere in this world, there's still, human experiments, kind of like the SCP Foundation.
I mean, look at organizations across the Pacific.
Let's not get into dangerous territory.
I'm
but
just
you are,
saying.
I agree. But I'm just telling you.
They, as my understanding, and not just anything that I've discovered recently, something that my understanding
They don't
of
give
that,
a fuck.
Well, I'm saying they see their population as cannon fodder. They've been socialized that way. That's the way they see themselves.
And it's
How
unfortunate.
else? You tell me. Okay, all right. Nobody can tell me. Look how small of a, for instance, what if I was to say,
Yes.
consider how small a nation, say Japan in population is, compared to its neighbor to its west.
Yes.
For every person in its neighbor for every person in Japan,
It's like 100 of their neighbor to the west.
at least 1,000
At least 1,000
to 1.
to 1.
So how was this small populated nation of Japan?
Yeah.
I don't care what their weaponry is. I mean, manpower is manpower.
True. This is kind of what made Russia so dangerous.
If you're outnumbered 1,000 to 1 or 100 to 1, okay, let's say 100 to 1, 100 to 1.
Yeah, numbers don't always win a battle, but they help.
But they do help.
They do help.
So how in the world could you have a population that large to be basically controlled lock, stock, and barrel? From my understanding,
You basically
without being so. In other words, you couldn't. What makes this country here in North America so unique is that there is and in my opinion, it's currently under siege. Is what socialism, Marxism calls the bourgeois. In this country, is called the middle class. These people have been raised with the assumption that they can do anything they want to do.
Yes.
They can have anything they want to have.
And then all of a sudden they couldn't.
But that versus a population of people that is at least 3 to 4 times the population of North America to be managed by a handful.
Yes.
Basically the same amount ratio here as in North America.
Yeah.
And be kept totally under control. That type of control begins between the ears.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
You can only keep people behind a fence for so long.
Yeah, because I always wondered that. I remember, not to get too political, was it Saddam who, at some point, the populace got a hold of the internet and realized that life in other countries was so much better than what they already had?
That happened in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yeah. And then the citizens basically went, "This is dumb. We want couches," or X number of whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
They wanted
toilet paper.
They wanted toilet paper. They wanted life.
Yeah.
They didn't want a hovel in the dirt. They wanted life.
Yeah.
So they went and they killed their leaders.
So,
and now it's
what Saudi Arabia basically did is they literally almost quadrupled all the entitlement programs.
Yeah. And made bank off of oil, but
I'm just saying.
Can you blame them?
They basically paid the population off.
Yeah.
don't riot. It was called the Arab Spring.
Yeah. Don't riot, we'll give you money.
We'll give you money. And that's basically what happened.
Sure.
Because what they were doing is they had all this wealth.
Yes.
And everybody was living rock, dirt floor poor. And basically, people got the internet, started
looking,
started making trouble.
And then one thing led to another, and Saddam's dead, or whatever the hell, whoever it was.
Saudi Arabia, they basically paid their population off.
Yeah.
Which,
sure.
Hey, but west of Japan, the
red state,
they have had these people mentally under mental control
for decades.
For thousands,
there's a reason,
hundreds, maybe thousands of years.
Yeah, there's a reason the religion of T-posing is super illegal over there.
Oh, it's super illegal.
Like, shoot you in the street without a trial of your peers illegal.
Right.
So, if you ever hear people who are like, I represent the religion of T-posing and I'm going to witness people in the red state. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye. Like, bye.
Yeah,
I hope
bye.
you have your will and testament written out.
No, you're an enemy of the state.
Yeah.
You're an enemy of the state.
Yeah, you are automatically an enemy of the state.
Yep.
So, bye. I hope you have your last will and testament written out.
Yeah.
Because you gonna need it. You don't want your friends' family fighting over your Xbox.
No.
Because that's how I see it. But, basically, back to what I was saying with looking at the past with hindsight of today. So, the experiment with the baby monkeys and their dummy moms and all that stuff. So, the whole point was, we as humans value comfort as much as food, if not more. We crave a family dynamic, a parental, maternal, paternal relationship. Some people argue one is more valued than the other. The maternal is more valued than the paternal, but I'm not here to get into that. In my opinion, you should have both.
Should have both.
At the end of the day, no matter who or what you're raised by, you need to have that paternal energy and that maternal energy.
Yeah, I mean,
because life is about balance.
Yeah, you can't have that disconnect where you condemn an entire group
just because they don't have one versus the other.
Versus, if I can't condemn, a group that you support, and you can't condemn a group that I support.
Yes.
But you have to look at the entire group.
Yes. So basically, at the end of the video, the teacher was like, "All right, so what did we learn from this experiment, essentially?" Now, here's the thing. The teacher... Hang on, I'm taking a sip. You shut up. So the teacher, basically, she did not present it as she didn't present it as, like, a really old thing. She didn't present it as, like, something that was going to be disturbing. She just said, this is what this experiment is. This is who it was conducted by. This is where it was conducted, the date. And she played the video. She presented it as factual and straightforward as possible.
Right.
And the first thing out of anyone's mouth... Now, this is a person who, thankfully, she never spoke up in class, but every single time she did, it made me angry. You ever have this person where they open their mouth, they don't even say anything, but they're about to speak, and you're like, oh, I need to buckle up right now. Because this is happening. This is now happening, and I am tired of it. She was that person for me in that class. Thankfully, it wasn't often, but every time it was just, shut the fuck up.
It's like an accidental meme creator.
No, it wasn't even funny. It would be different if it was funny.
No, all memes aren't funny.
Still, the memes I like are funny, or they're funny to me.
Yeah.
I get the joke, basically. Joke doesn't have to be funny, I just get it. The first thing out of her fucking mouth was, what we learned was this was unethical.
She didn't even spell unethical.
Exactly. And I'm like, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking like, no shit, Valerie, or whatever the fuck your name is. This was done in the 50s. Just about every science experiment in the 50s was unethical.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Right. No, nobody was harmed in this experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just happened to be on animals.
Yes. It was unethical because it was done to animals. It's like, yes, this is unethical.
Well, hey, you know what? If they want to pay people the right amount of money, they can experiment on human beings. That don't bother me at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Once they sign the releases and you want to trade the only reason they do it is to get out from under paying a tremendous amount of money.
Oh, I know they don't.
These are just ethical, blah, 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 blah.
No. It's because you don't want to pay out like $1 million.
Yeah, you don't want to pay out, man.
Yeah, it's like, I have this drug that cures cancer. I'll test it for $1 million. You don't want to pay that.
No.
Shit.
No, they want to get it as cheaply as possible.
Yeah, the other example I have of judging the past with hindsight of today was, it was the same year.
Yeah.
For some reason. Same year.
Okay.
I don't know what it was with this 12-month period. But I was in an English class. It was British literature. It was like a master class, which I took 2 master class Englishes in the same semester because I'm smart like that. And I mean that sarcastically. That was a dumb decision. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
So, basically, I don't fucking know what people want. Basically, in this English class, they were talking about, we got to the Shakespeare part because it's British literature. You cannot do British literature and not talk about William Shakespeare.
Nope.
It's like going through a math class and you don't talk about 2 + 2 is 4.
You don't talk about plus and minus.
You don't talk about pluses and minuses or divisions or multiplications.
You cannot embrace the English language without exploring Shakespeare.
Exactly, because, hey, guess what? Motherfucker probably revamped that whole thing.
Get over it, people.
Yeah, get over it, people. Just let it go.
That's how you got here.
It's how we got here. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was basically just going over, some of the dynamics. It was like in the Elizabethan era, mostly. Was very prolific. Words, made words up. Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, As You Like It, yada yada yada. All of the things.
Right.
Othello, all of the things.
We get it.
And different person, this bitch, I don't know what it was. In this 12-month period, everyone that had a problem with the past or made some kind of stupid comment was a woman. And I don't know how I feel about that.
White chicks.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Always.
It's always white chicks.
I don't know why.
What to say about that.
Yeah,
it is.
I don't get it. So, basically, she was trying to argue with the teacher that we shouldn't study William Shakespeare because he was sexist and didn't allow women to be in his plays. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Didn't have anything to do with Shakespeare.
Yeah, it did. And that was the society.
That was the society at the time.
Yeah, that was the society at the time. Like,
and if it wasn't for guys appearing in theater dressed as women, they wouldn't have the word gay.
Exactly.
Like dumb people.
Yeah, no, dumb people. Plus, on the other side, and from my perspective, what, you don't think it's hilarious for it to be a comedy and 2 dudes just have to make out because one happens to be a chick? That's hilarious! It's like, that guy must have lost a bet or something.
Sure.
It's that whole thing of, what is it? That Julie Andrews movie? You and the matriarch were watching it the other day, where Julie is like a dude, is like
Victor
a girl,
Victoria.
Victor Victoria,
which is a great movie, by the way.
Oh my god, it's so good,
so good.
But it's this whole thing of it's a woman playing a dude playing a woman.
Right.
It's a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. That is my favorite line from Tropic Thunder.
Oh my god.
That is the best written line in Tropic Thunder. I will fight people over this.
It is.
It's a girl playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Pretty much.
That's the plot of Victor Victoria.
It's a wonderful movie.
And there's this part where
It was like Julie Andrews' character. She's like slow dancing with a producer or whatever the fuck that guy was. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
That guy. And then, at some point, I don't know if she just forgets that she's pretending to be a guy, but she starts being extraordinarily feminine because that's her baseline.
That's her baseline, yeah.
Because she's a chick.
Right.
And then that dude goes out and gets in a bar fight. I mean, shit like that is funny.
Yeah, he was trying to reestablish himself as a quote-unquote man.
When he's having
by going out and starting a fight.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I've been there.
Yeah, stuff like stuff like that to me is funny. So this chick she's just arguing with the teacher, and I'm just like eyes rolled in the back of my head, slumped in my seat, because I am just done.
Right.
Because it's like, oh my fucking God, woman. That was the first time I saw someone in college get kicked out of the class, and it was like within my final year.
We have talked in past podcasts about what fundamentalists. Well, actually, fundamentalists don't embrace this concept. Fundamentalists believe in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a
fundamentalists of the T-posing religion.
There is an understanding that that phrase has been cut short, and we've talked about kingdom of heaven on earth.
Yes.
You see how someone who has embraced that mindset, that has embraced that line of thinking,
finding the kingdom of heaven on earth,
finding the king that have embraced what you saw in class, how that person will never find peace. They will never be able to sleep well. Their life and existence will always be erratic. There are a couple of principles, and it isn't anything that's hard to embrace, but it's kind of like people are trying to create a reality that is outside of what they were created to be. Okay. It goes along with, I'm tall, I wish I was short. I'm short, I wish I was tall. I'm blonde, I wish I was a brunette.
Basically,
I'm a brunette,
they weren't raised to appreciate who they were.
I was born without a penis, I wish I was born with a penis. I was born with a penis, I wish I was born without a penis. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that same type of mentality. You never find, if you allow your mind to get into a certain mindset, if you you never will find peace in this plane.
Mm-hmm.
You will forever be uncomfortable. You will forever be unhappy. You will forever tread water. All right, because you're not settling your mind to the obvious nature of what you are. It's right in front of you. And it's that implacable mindset that is created. And people in general, and it's been my experience as well. People. The one thing people can do is criticize all sorts of events that they are not personally responsible for.
I don't want to get into that.
But if you try to talk back to them about, okay, well, if you can do better, and they're like, well, it's, I have said, no bitching without pitching.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get to complain about something unless you have a better idea.
Yeah.
And some people are just complainers. They're implacable. They cannot be pleased. Unfortunately, some very complicated and complex dynamics have worked their way into that narrative in today's society.
We live in a society,
or
whatever the gender said.
These people they won't ever find peace. Unfortunately, they're gonna bug the shit out of the rest of us.
Yeah, I know, because I'm sitting here just being like, world's probably gonna end. There's gonna be some big changes. We're facing a hard reset situation.
I will live.
It's happened before.
It's happened before. This won't be the last time.
No.
Maybe.
No, 20, 30, 40 years from now, you'll see this again.
Oh, yeah.
You will.
And I won't enjoy it just any more than what's happening
it'll
today.
get on your nerves even worse, just like it's doing mine right now.
Oh, because at first it was new
You
and
damn
exciting.
stupid kids.
Yeah, because at first for you it was like new and exciting, but now you're just like,
Oh, really? No, but no, seriously. But what happens is this? It just drives me crazy, and I can't understand why the average person on the street can't see this. You are being used, in my opinion, to advance someone else's agenda.
I know.
And as soon as they get what they want, they're going to drop you cold.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to drop you cold.
I don't know. I think I think most people, they're just not built to get it.
I don't have any other explanation.
Or they're just not in a position to get it.
Well, what bothers me is that people that like entertainers that that cash in on it.
Yeah.
I mean, they
might as well. Like, I get it.
Show hosts and newscasters.
Yeah.
Looking at things specifically based, especially people involved in the news. Now, people that are like say talk show hosts and stuff like that, they have a little more of a leeway.
They still make me angry.
People in the news and media industry, they live in such a bubble. And
yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I keep hearing these comments. I keep hearing these comments where it's likened to that Marie Antoinette quote that may or may not have actually happened.
Right.
If they don't have bread, let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake.
I keep hearing stuff like that from that particular bubble out in the Hollywood entertainer region. It's like, oh, people who are homeless? Why are they homeless? Just buy more houses. It's like, no, Tiffany, no.
No.
Don't tweet that, no.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way. That's not life. You see what I mean?
Right.
It's, like there's a difference between people who are alive and people who have lived.
True.
You live, you have to, some people, they have to go traveling and meet different cultures. Some people, they study and they talk to people. And it's like, oh, some people, unfortunately, have to go through the military-industrial complex meat grinder. And they're like, oh, everything sucks. Then they come back and they tell everyone everything sucks. I wish it wasn't that way, but it happens. Basically, you just gotta be hit. You just gotta get hit by life. You gotta get hit in the face by life. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
That would be, in other words, known as street cred.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what's so crazy to me? It just drives me crazy. There's this huge movement in the streets that's obviously been kind of tamped down on because of the current administration, and the press doesn't want to talk about it and amplify it. But there's such a movement in the streets that's being orchestrated by people who wouldn't know what dirt under their fingernails looks like. It's crazy to me.
I have no words.
Well, I guess if you're the sheep, you don't know you're the sheep. I guess.
That has to be it.
But you don't understand you're being manipulated. There's a very specific news channel that just consistently apologizes and retracts statements over and over.
It's not a news channel. It's propaganda at this point.
It's propaganda, for crying out loud. I'm not saying you can't watch it. I'm just saying, you can't believe 100%. You have to understand what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I know. This is why I can't watch the news anymore, because I don't know what the fuck is happening anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Because here's the thing. Prior to the Cheeto Man, my process for looking at the news was I would look at the left-wing swinging news, see how they spun a particular story. I look at the right swinging news, see how they spun this still same particular story.
Yeah.
Then I would look at the BBC, see if they commented on it, because in terms of American affairs, BBC don't give a fuck. Or they didn't used to.
No, they didn't. No, they did not used to.
They did not
correct.
used to.
They
Remember, I said prior to the Cheeto Man.
Oh, absolutely.
Prior to
you
the
could
Cheeto,
tune into them and find out what was
happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the BBC did not give a fuck about American.
And then all of a sudden,
the Cheeto Man came in, and now I can't do that anymore.
No, you can't.
Like what's happening in the Middle East between Israel and literally everyone else? I don't know.
You don't know.
I mean, some bombs got launched, but what else is new?
Yeah, what else is new?
What's happening in France? Are they going to have a civil war? Yeah, probably, but I don't know. What's happening in Venezuela? Aren't they having like some sort of economical collapse because their currency is worthless because of how their government's run? I don't know. They won't talk about it.
No.
What's happening in Russia? Is the former head of a particular region, a particular organization that's not supposed to exist anymore, still in power? Yeah, probably.
Aren't they socialists?
I don't know anymore because they don't say it.
Well, exactly. The news media in North America doesn't say it anymore.
Exactly.
And as far as I know, in my lifetime,
yeah,
Russia has always been socialist.
They've been some kind Russia has always been some kind of socialist or communist or something in that ballpark.
Socialist, communist is the same bird, two wings.
Yeah. Except one doesn't automatically shoot you in the street.
That is true. That is not.
Yeah, that's kind of... socialism is basically the Diet Coke of communism. Whereas communism is, you're gonna do this, or you're gonna eat a bullet. Either way. It's not my problem.
Right.
So, you see what I mean?
I see exactly what you mean.
Like, if anyone wants to know how communism actually is supposed to work... and it's not this whole thing of, oh, no one has ever tried true communism or true socialism yet. I want you to look up 2 movies and watch them. Doesn't have to be back to back, but definitely have to watch them within inside of a 3-day period.
And before you get into that, this is how you address that type of statement when somebody says, oh, they've never had true communism or true...
fuck those people.
You know what?
They don't read.
If you don't have an example in front of you to quote from,
yes,
then how do you know that it's supposed to work the way you think it should?
And they're gonna they'll do.
You understand what I'm saying?
They'll do some dumb shit like, look, read the Communist Manifesto. I did.
Yeah.
The problem with communism is humanity as a rule are too complex.
Well, I mean,
some people are greedy.
You still have the small
overseeing the large.
The small minority controlling the large
That's
majority.
not cool, but the 2 movies that I recommend to anyone who says that need to watch inside of a 3-day period is The Death of Stalin.
Which is funny as hell.
Yeah, it's funny as hell, and it makes me sad because it's accurate.
It's pretty accurate.
It's funny.
If you get rid of the campy stuff, but the whole where they were trying to hide,
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were afraid that they could die at any second.
Yeah, if they took all the comedy out of that movie, it would be a horror movie.
It would be a horror movie.
Exactly.
And that is exactly what... hey, look at Chernobyl, for crying out loud. Chernobyl. I never knew how close... And I lived through that.
Yes, you did.
I never knew how close the whole apocalyptic thing was about to unfold.
Yeah.
Only because the people in power...
They just didn't want to acknowledge it.
They would say that type of event can't happen because we are a perfect society.
And yet.
And it could have destroyed the entire planet.
Okay. How about this? How about this? Inside of a 3-day, that you just added to my examples, inside of a 3-day period, people who profess that we have never tried true socialism / communism as told by Karl Marx, You need to watch these 3 medias inside of a 3-day period. The Death of Stalin, the miniseries Chernobyl,
which will scare the shit out of you.
Which will scare the shit out of you. It should scare the shit out of you. Because we're still having this problem today with Fukushima.
Yeah. It didn't go away.
It didn't go away.
No.
And Child 47.
That was interesting.
Yes. Here's the thing. The Death of Stalin, like we said, if they took all the campiness and the horror, if they took all the campiness and the comedy out of it, it would be a horror movie. That actually might be why they had to be funny.
Yeah.
Because they knew it would be so drastic, people would not want to sit through it.
No.
It made me laugh, but I couldn't sit through it. I had to take breaks. You know? The only person in that movie, aside from, who's the main character? The actor. You know who I'm talking about?
Tom... The English guy.
No, not the English guy. The American. He was the one that was trying to get rid of the, I don't remember these people's names. Basically, Jason Isaacs, who was the head of the Red Army at that time, his character was... He was like the best. He was like one of the best parts of the movie because he was just in on it. Hang on, I gotta pull up the cast of this because you're just looking at me with the confused face and I don't like it.
I'm staring at the floor with a confused face. Thank you very much.
I'm still in the same room, so you need to shut the fuck up.
No, it was Tom.
No, his name is not Tom. There might be someone who is Tom, but that's not who I'm talking about.
No, the really good English actor.
No.
It's like the second coming of Gary Newman.
Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman.
For fuck's sake.
It's your fault I confused those two. Anyway.
If Gary Oldman and Gary Newman, do they know each other, exist, and if they met, would they be friends or enemies?
I would imagine they've met. Because they're both...
No. Steve Buscemi is who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He is technically the main character.
In what?
The Death of Stalin.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about...
No.
Yeah.
The Death of Stalin, Steve Buscemi's character is Khrushchev. He is technically the main character in that movie because he's the one that's like, we've got to stop.
Right.
You know? And I get it. The other person in it that I really liked was Jason Isaacs, who, if I can find his face and no, of course not. Basically, in The Death of Stalin, Jason Isaacs' character plays like the head general of the Red Army at that time. The guy he's playing.
Oh, that guy.
That guy, with all the medals and all that.
Yeah,
he's the one that led the actual uprising at the end of the movie.
Really sharp nose. And that piercing stare.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you're talking
He
about.
was awesome. Because he was just like, man, fuck all of this.
He was playing it straight.
And he was playing it straight.
Yeah.
I mean, a little campy, just a teaspoon.
Tom Hardy.
But he was awesome. Yeah, Tom Hardy's in Child 47.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Yes, that's Child 47. Chernobyl talks about Chernobyl and the nuclear meltdown that happened. And how we were about a couple millimeters close to complete societal collapse.
A nuclear winter.
A nuclear winter, which would have killed us all.
Oh, man.
All because they didn't want to admit that they were flawed.
No, the rest is just like what's going on with the beer flu. You know, the country it came from, the rest of the world is going to have to prove by their own scientific investigation.
Yeah.
That's where it came from.
Exactly.
And that's what happened with Chernobyl, yes.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And Child 47, basically at some point during, this was back when Stalin was still alive, canonically, or historically, excuse me.
Yeah.
there was this narrative being pushed back then. It may still be pushed today, where they basically said that serial killers was a plague amongst capitalism.
Capitalism. They said it couldn't exist in their
communism.
And
yet, Child 47 talks about it wasn't really an investigation because they closed it repeatedly.
Right.
But basically, the quote-unquote investigation by Tom Hardy's character to find an actual serial killer in Stalin Russia.
Right. And that's
because they didn't want to admit that that possibility could be there.
What's going on today is, it is saying that because one image is we are by looking at this image, understanding this image, that are the people that's in control.
Yes.
And that's where the evil comes from. And if you don't match this image, if you have a different pigmentation,
sure,
you have a different gender,
if you have a different culture,
then you are not going to perpetuate the images of
finish your thought.
Images of any kind of social negativity, because you're laying it out on a particular image that you have in your mind.
Yes.
And not accepting that anybody, any color, any gender, any race, any creed, anybody, it's a difference between people in control and people not in control.
Sure.
It doesn't go any further than that.
Okay.
And that's what happens when other people get into control and they become, because then they'll lay it off to the original. Then they'll lay it off on the original image, like you corrupted these people. No, it's the fact that they exist. Okay, it doesn't have anything to do with you. You won't even give responsibility to people you support versus people you don't support.
Zukov. That's the Jason Isaacs character.
Yeah.
Phil Marshall Zukov. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but basically what you'll do is you'll say the image of the people in power, you will say that those people are evil because
they're in charge.
They're in charge, what they look like, like the Caucasian patriarch.
I'm so over that.
And they believe that if that image or if that person is replaced, then everything will settle out.
But it doesn't work that way.
But it doesn't work that way.
Here's the thing. People, as a rule, they just hate the top dog just because they're the top dog.
Pretty much.
Like, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter if the leader is a baby strangling maniac or the paragon of sweetness and sunshine.
Yeah.
You are going to hate them simply because they're the ones in charge and you are not.
And you're not. That's it.
This is also why there's that nurse adage of you don't get to bitch if you're not gonna pitch.
Right.
You know?
You don't have
if you don't have an idea, then shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes. Plain and simple.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Other than that, you're just somebody that...
you're just some schmo who complains.
Some schmo who complains.
And I hate you. I hate that person.
Yeah.
So...
And so...
I'm just so over what is happening today. I'm done. Again, this is why I don't watch the news, because I am just done. This whole thing of, we're gonna eat the rich. How?
You know how many times I've heard that?
Probably more than me.
A lot.
A lot more than me. Because you've been alive longer.
Times. Every 10 to 20 years, that always pops up.
Yeah. And I'm just like, here's the thing. I'm not saying this isn't a noble cause.
I'm not exactly. I mean, whatever it is.
But what's the plan?
Yeah, what's your plan?
What's your plan?
You're not going to pull anybody down.
No.
What's that? There's a great line in the movie Gangs of New York. It says you can pay half the poor to kill the other half or something
and
like
that's
that.
it?
And that's it.
But that's the thing. People who are in this mindset
you're not going to... I'm not saying...
You're not going to do it.
I'm not saying. I mean, there was a time.
Yes, there was.
The French Revolution.
Ooh, we might have another one.
The American Revolution.
Yes.
You may.
Might have another one.
There was a time. I don't know if that sort of thing can happen anymore. I really don't.
It might happen small scale.
Yeah, but not in an affluent first or second world country.
Not really. It would be drastic.
Everybody's too fat. They're too well fed.
They're too privileged.
They're too privileged, and that goes for all
that
colors
goes for
and
everybody.
all. That goes for everybody. You got, yeah, well, you do too.
Yeah, you do too.
What about, you don't think people that are worthless and don't work and are just locusts and don't produce anything, you don't think the fact that they're allowed to exist and not be put in jail or under the jail, you think that's not a privilege?
Exactly.
Seems
not to
like
sound harsh.
Not to sound harsh, but it just seems like, me.
Here's
if you're not rowing, why are we keeping you in the boat?
Exactly.
Okay.
Not to sound too harsh.
Why don't we just toss you over the side? See, that's privilege too.
Yeah, that's privilege too.
Anyway.
So, yeah, I'm just, that's the whole thing of, you could get like a couple hundred to 1,000 people all under the banner of Eat the Rich or whatever the slogan you choose is.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a plan, that crowd's going to disperse and you'll have nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I basically doom scroll TikTok because I'm in a situation where, again, I don't want to die, but I don't want to exist.
Doom scroll.
It's basically where you're scrolling when you know you have to live your life.
Okay.
It's like people who they just go on the internet and they get on their phones or computers and they don't stop like all night. Not because they have insomnia, just because they don't want to face reality. That's called doom scrolling.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On TikTok, it's called doom scrolling, where you are just stuck inside that app and you do not want to face reality.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I can get caught up in that. Escapism. I can get caught up in that. And I admit it is a problem. I'm looking to fix it. I'm trying to change my situation. I've kind of put my quote-unquote spiritual journey on pause because I am just like, I don't hate life, but I know I have to make a change.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's life.
And that is life.
That is life.
That
life is change. That's it.
Life is change.
Yeah.
Or whatever Ratatouille said. So.
Lemmy.
So, basically, I see these people on TikTok, which apparently is like the new social media platform. You know, Facebook's out, Instagram is, I'm not sure. Snapchat, I don't fucking know. TikTok is definitely where it's at. And people are just like, I've had enough. When they say, eat the rich, I will literally eat the rich. I'm gonna keep Gordon Ramsay alive so he can make me some Jeff Bezos long pork tenderloins. And I'm like...
Bezos.
And I'm looking at this crazy motherfucker and I'm like, okay, bro, what's your plan?
Yeah, what's your plan?
What's your plan? Like, are you gonna stage a coup? We gonna take over Fort Knox, steal all the world's gold? What's your plan?
Tell your mother you're gonna be home by 5 so you can have dinner?
Yeah. You see what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying this is...
I'm gonna overthrow the world!
Yeah, exactly.
Mom!
Pack my lunch, Mom!
You ironed my shorts yet?
Where's my chicken nuggies? My chalky milk. Where's my chicken nuggies?
Yeah, those.
And I'm just like, I'm not saying this isn't a noble cause. I mean, I don't want to participate in the cannibalism aspect of that plan, but this whole thing of, you know, fuck the government.
You know, words are cheap.
Yeah, talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap.
Just do it.
Just do it. Or shut up.
Or shut up.
Just, you know, it's all clickbait anyway.
Oh, I know it's all clickbait anyway. I'm just like,
there used to be some people.
Someone is going to do something. I just know
years
it.
Ago, I can't remember this lady's name, but she was this real big blogger.
Yeah.
And there was this next level stuff going down in Portland, Oregon. This was like 10 years ago.
Oh, God.
And it was so funny because she was like, yeah, I'm going to Portland. I'm going to, you know, this whole leftist versus non-leftist exchange was going on in the streets of Portland, Oregon. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go collect some Nazi scalps. Literally. Word for word, verbatim, that's what she wrote.
What happened?
Going to go collect some Nazi scalps. Well, she just happened to get, you know, everybody's got a plan till they get hit.
So how'd it go?
She rolled up on this one guy, buddy. Man, he drove her into the sidewalk like a tent spike. I mean, bang! It was bad, and she has completely disappeared. I don't know. She may still have a blog. She may still have a presence.
Here's the thing.
I'm saying, if you all these people, you're gonna have to get your hands dirty.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the part.
That's the start.
That's the start
okay,
and the part.
And to get them bloody.
Yes.
Is eventually where you will end up. But you're gonna have to get your hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Suggesting what other people should do. There is a place for that in society, and you can make good money at that. But
doesn't seem to be your forte.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is now, so everybody can, everybody can be tracked back to individual sentences that they spoke, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I think it's going to peter out. I really do.
I hope it does, because I'm just done.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm done. I've reached a point in my life where it's just like, I'm done.
No, I know. I used to be the same way. I'm like, yeah, man, we got to do this and we got to do that.
No,
but then
I'm
you
like,
begin to understand that, you're trying to turn a river.
Yeah, you're trying to turn a river. Here's the thing. To my knowledge, I never really got into that mode of, man, fuck the government. We gotta raid the armory.
Yeah.
I've just always had this feeling of apathy because very early on, I did realize you're trying to turn a river in the opposite direction.
Right.
Right. It's like changing the direction of a waterfall.
Yeah.
How the fuck you gonna do that?
I mean, it takes more than words.
It takes more than words.
Well, let me rephrase that.
And it's going to take more than you.
As a rule of thumb.
Yeah.
It takes more than words.
Yes.
Now, there are people, and
great orators, or
if you look at,
great talkers is what I'm trying to say.
There is a reason that there is although they call these terms different.
Yes.
Like a BC and an AC used to be before Christ and after Christ. There can come.
Now it's BCE, before Common Era.
Common Era and after Common Era, and that's okay.
Sure, whatever.
That's okay.
Sure, whatever.
We know where it started. Someone can show up.
Yes.
And speak words into existence.
Yes.
That can, there's no joke why at one time, if you came in and taught the religion of tea in Japan or the areas west of Japan, you were put to death. It was not a trial or a suggestion.
You were just dead.
You were just put to death. Very powerful words, very powerful understanding.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that people don't...
So words can affect.
Sure, but here's the thing, though. What some people just seems to not either they don't understand or they don't care is, yes, you can speak this level of truth that people need to hear, but you will still have to pay a price for it.
Yeah, well, look at the person that spoke those words.
He died.
Yeah, they killed him.
Twice. He died twice.
So,
like he died on this plane, came back, I guess, and said, hey, be cool. And then he went somewhere else, so he died twice. It's
so,
like, the fuck?
If you think you're going to get out of this
unscathed. Yes.
You might as well quit while you're ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like, here's the thing.
If you want to make that kind of impact on existence. And there's a lot of people that are in love with that idea.
I do.
But see, the reason that they don't have any impact on,
they're just in love with the idea.
They're in love with the idea, and they're in love with their own ego.
That's a good point.
If you are truly meant to change humankind, and your own ego is not involved, which is rare in a way that I can't even fit into my head.
Indeed.
Then
people would argue only one person have done it, but that's those folk.
Yeah.
And I get it.
I get it.
But still, how rare it is. But whatever. Yeah, I know. I'm just like, It's not that me personally, I don't want to make an impact on the world. It's just I am way too concerned about getting into the boat.
How so?
Here's the thing. We're not in a bad situation.
No.
But I am so done and so jaded by what is happening.
Right.
And I don't mean jaded as in I hate everything. I mean jaded as in you need to turn that shit off before I break your finger or something, you know?
Right.
You're like, I just don't want to hear it. I'm done. I'm done listening to the news. I'm sick of looking at influencers because they're just sheep too.
Oh, they're just it's sensationalistic stuff. They're just doing stuff to draw attention.
I get it. They're like
so they're
alpha
saying
sheep.
things. And here's where the problem is: they're saying things they don't mean.
No,
and they're doing things that have outcomes that they don't understand the ramifications because they're just doing it for. It's like somebody that goes and buys you a gift. An expensive gift, not because they love you, but because they want you to hold them in a certain level of esteem.
That's called the entry into cultism.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
A cult.
They're not giving you this great gift because they love you. They're giving you this great gift to leverage you.
Exactly.
Okay, and
that's called being in a cult.
As long as people continue to do these sensationalistic clickbait type of, for lack of a better expression, clickbait type of things, they're not seeking truth.
Nope.
They're not seeking what is best for everybody. They just want press.
Yes.
And ergo, what celebrities do. Mm-hmm. You know, 4 years ago, we had all these celebrities talking about if this particular person was elected, they would leave the country.
Then they didn't leave the country.
And then we had a change of that office. How many people that disagreed with the new administration coming in? How many of those people said, you know, what if he's elected? I'm leaving this country.
Exactly.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
What I mean by getting...
people are fake.
I know.
They're going to fall on their face sooner or later.
I get it. What I mean by getting in the boat is I don't think we're doing a bad situation, but I definitely feel like... I've always had this lifelong dream since I was young where I was just going to get a really big beach house on an island and have like a boat and or a helicopter because, you know, I still got to get food. And I was just going to be plugged into the internet and not have to talk to people all day. That's not out of the cards. I still want my own island. I still want, you know, that beach house and the boat and or helicopter because I still want food.
Sure.
But it's this whole thing of I just want peace and quiet.
Right.
Now, I can't have peace and quiet here. Genuinely so.
Right.
But I mean, like, the total, global, almost like a sensory deprivation thing where kind of like the movie Castaway where he was on that island for 9 years, had no fucking idea what was happening, no one knew where he was.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, except I wouldn't do it for 9 years.
Sure.
It's just like, I need to go somewhere else. I need to shut everything off. And whatever happens, happens. And I'll deal with it later. And then I just go. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Be in this position where I don't have to listen to the what the fuck is it? I don't have to listen to the mewling of the sheep.
Yeah, that does get old.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't mean it in a crass or an egotistical way. I just mean it in terms of, look, I quit. I don't want to person anymore.
Right.
You know, let me phrase that. I still believe it is okay to be a human, but I also believe it is okay to log off, so to speak. Taking a time out. You know, a personal time out. A vacation from life. That's what I want. Have the ability to do that, but I'm getting irritated.
That's what everybody wants.
Uh-huh. That's what everybody needs, but whatever. I'm getting irritated.
Yeah.
You got anything else? Because otherwise really. I'm just going to get irritated. I'm irritable.
That's irritation. It's making you wet. All right. No, I'm done.
Oh, just a PS for the folks at home. I know how to do the grudge chick sound.
The grudge chick sound.
Because in the movie...
Did you say grunge?
Grudge.
Or grudge?
Ju-on.
Oh, the movie Grudge.
The movie Grudge.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how to do that.
A slow pirate. Anyway.
I used to do that a lot and freak people out, so I just wanted to say that because I was
Cool.
like, yes! This movie came out, I already knew how to do it since I was like 5.
I had nothing to do with that. Not when you were 5. You used to sneak and watch stuff. I know you did.
Yes, I did.
Anyway.
I watched Echoes, that movie with Kevin Bacon in it when I was
Stir of Echoes.
Stir of Echoes. Yeah, that movie freaked me the fuck out. That was probably my first horror movie now that I think about it.
Yeah, well, then it was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
I'm slightly less irritated and I'm done.
Yeah.
I got it to do. All right. Well, that's it, folks. I was your host, Bel-E.
And I was your co-host, Mr. Scratch.
And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.